here's what we're going to do this week. I put a poll inside of the group recently about the topics that you all want to hear about and talk about, because really the whole intention of doing this live 5 days a week is so that it supports you in some way in your life. Okay, and so the top two things that were voted on in the poll were, number one, how to stay focused on your goal until you achieve it. And then a very close second is how to discover your purpose, how to know what you're really meant to do, your superpowers, what it is that will really light you up and keep you pulled forward in the world. And so this week I'm going to talk all about purpose, and I'm going to approach it from a different angle every single day. Okay. So, and this is the reason we're doing purpose, even though it was voted on second as opposed to first, is because we really need to really ground your purpose. And I want you to really get how important that is and how to actually tap into that. We've got to do that before, anything around focus and goal setting or anything like that. Because the truth is, if you're not hooked into something, and you guys have heard me say it so many times, but it's true. If you're not hooked into something like bigger than you, something that really calls you forward, like like the purpose that a Mother Teresa has, or a Gandhi, or right now Marianne Williamson, right? Like if you're not hooked into something like that, then it doesn't matter how much goal setting you do, right? It doesn't matter like how much time management you practice or tips that you get. If your purpose is not ingrained in you and firing you up, it's going to be really easy to get off track. It's going to be easy. And I'm not saying that you won't have moments where you get off track, but when you're hooked into your purpose, it's going to be easier. Okay, so here's what I want to start with today. So do you guys get that part, that if you're not on purpose, like the stuff that I teach you about goal setting, time management, it won't stick. I mean, you'll get it in theory, intellectually, but it will keep slipping away as day-to-day life takes hold. Okay, so purpose. The number one thing that really matters, and this is one of the things that I really work with my clients on, and I'm going to give you an example of someone specifically that had a huge breakthrough around some work that we did, is vision. A powerful why. Like, what is the vision for your life or your business or the relationship that you want, and why? Why do you want it? Knowing why it matters to you is going to keep you rooted and grounded in going the distance. Because here's the truth. For me personally right now, I'm actually going through a personal, very emotional, very spiritual transition in my own life. Right? Like I'm going through that right now in my own life, in which I have no idea what's about to come. Right? Have you ever felt that? Like, that you're going through this transition, things are kind of being uprooted, but coming together, but there's all this uncertainty, and you feel yourself shifting into something and something opening up for you. And it can be very unsettling, right? So I'm going through that right now. However, because I'm so strong in my leadership, because how I've consistently trained myself to be, right? Because of my coaches, because of my community, because of my team, because of my connection to my higher vision and my universal why, which is always pulling me forward. Because of that, even though I'm going through this transitional period right now, I'm okay. I'm trusting. I'm not freaking out. I'm totally open, and I am receiving. But don't get it twisted. Don't miss the point. I'm a little bit upside down and left side up right now, right? Because I am personally someone who likes to get on and get over it. Can you relate to me? So throw me some likes if this is you as well. Like you like to get on and get over it. I'm like that, but I've realized right now, I'm in my 40s, sometimes it takes a while, but we add wisdom, right, to our bag of tools and tricks and strategies as we age and as we go through experience. I've realized that we actually have to go through most things, not just over them in order to conquer them, right, and get most of the juice from it. The juice is life's lessons, right? It's the teachings, it's the gold that God is giving us. It's the gold that God is giving us. I'm going to get to my point here. So with my clients, whenever we do a VIP day or do an SMV session, and every VIP day that I do now includes an SMV session because I see how profoundly it has made a difference for the people that I work with and even for myself. So I have them do some prep work the night before, which is where we're going to get to today, about your vision and your purpose, about really knowing what it is you're meant to do. So I have them do prep work the night before, and that prep includes going back through a timeline of integral moments in your life. And I know, Linda, you've done this, I believe. I believe Linda and Catherine, you guys did this before the group, if you actually did the prep work. And if you didn't and you still have that, I'm talking to those of the Linda and Catherine, you're on right now, and you still have that, I encourage you to go back and do it. So they do prep work the night before, and it includes going through a timeline of really integral moments in life, okay? And I'm not going to go through that process here, but it's very profound. It takes you through, you know, memory lane, so to speak, starting from present all the way to the day you were born, your earliest memories. And from that, I have a process for them to actually start connecting the dots and seeing the pieces to what it is they are meant to do in this world. Because most people come to work with me because they are new entrepreneurs, they're new coaches or aspiring to be, they want to be, or they're going through a big transition in their life in general, right? So oftentimes high achievers will have already achieved so many things by the time they're in their 30s and 40s, and then they want to make a change or a transition. And so that's often when people come to me for that kind of support. So we look backwards, connecting the dots, and we often see that our purpose comes from a darker place, right? Because the truth is, most of our lives are not just all rainbows and butterflies, right? We've all had to conquer things. And the path of someone who is a coach or a leader or a big, let's say, change maker in the world is typically a path pebbled with lots of triumphs and tribulations, right? Like you can look at any of the people that maybe you admire or that you follow or that have made a big impact on your life, whether you know them personally or not. If you look back in their past, there's been some darkness that they've had to go through, right? So I want to share this story about someone that I worked with in a VIP day. Her name is Jules. She and I met in a leadership program, and I actually was one of her trainers in that program. Then Jules sought me out, right? She sought me out later because of my leadership, because of what she described as my energy. Because of what she described as my energy. The reason I'm sharing this with you is it's important for you to know, if you are attracted to something in someone, if you're attracted to a quality or energy in someone, it's because it's also inside of you. It's also inside of you, even if you don't see it yet. Whatever quality you're attracted to, it's in you. If it wasn't, if you didn't have the ability to access that, if you didn't connect with it, you would not be attracted to it, because like attracts like, not opposites, right? Like, don't think about the whole opposites attracts personality thing. We're talking about something deeper. Right? So if you're attracted to it in somebody, and I always remind myself of that, like if I see somebody doing something that really moves me, that really energizes me, no matter how far off that accomplishment is from where I am, if I'm attracted to it and there's something that resonates with me and connects me with that person, then I know that I've got that in me. I know that I've got that in me. And so that right there can be your confidence, right? If there's something or someone that you aspire to, know that if you're attracted to it and you dream about it and you want it, then it's already yours to be had. You just get to get yourself on that path there. Okay, so Jules, so Jules reached out to me for this VIP day, right? And here's the truth. She actually resisted the prep work. The prep work that I gave her, because she said, oh, why do I need to go back in the past? Why do I need to go back and uncover these things? I don't want to. Like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to that dark place. And I get it. Believe me, that's my default reaction as well, right? Is that yours? Can you relate? If you can relate, let me know in the comments. Do you also like to just get over it as opposed to go through it, or have this mentality of like, why do I need to go backwards, right? And I totally, that has always been the way that I have felt, or, you know, up until a certain point, until I realized how important it is to go through, right? Not just over. Because if we just go over things, don't they have a way of creeping back in? They either creep back in or they hit us over the head, right? They hit us over the head until we get it. So Jules actually resisted doing the prep work. She resisted doing it. And drivers, high achievers, those of us who are tough and just get on with it and get over it, you know, we're absolute pros at getting on with it, right? And so Jules had been an absolute pro at just getting on with it. I mean, her backstory is huge in terms of the things that she had to go through. So anyway, Jules resisted it and she did it anyway, right? So here's what happened in her VIP day. So she wanted support around her business. So Jules felt that she's a plant-based, whole foods plant-based coach, and she's phenomenal at what she does. But she was having some sticking points in her business, like getting people signed up, having having clients that were a great fit, that would pay, that were fully committed, right? So that was the wall that she was at, even though she knew the work that she did was so great, and she knew she could help people who wanted to have that lifestyle and make that transition. But here's what she didn't realize, right? Like, that's what she was doing for work, but that wasn't her purpose. That's not her purpose. And she didn't know why, right? It's like there was no real grounded why. It was more like, you know, this has made a difference in my life and I want to help other people with it. Have you ever said that to yourself? Like, whatever you're doing, like, you want to teach it to other people because it's made a difference for you. That's okay, but that's still the surface. It's still the surface. So after some generous feedback from me, let me just, no, let me skip that. Okay, let's just get right to the VIP day. We went through this SMV process, right, which stands for knowing what you stand for, what your mission is, and what your vision is. So purpose is tied into this, right, knowing what your bigger vision is, and then why. So we went through this process and uncovered what Jules was truly driven by, what she was truly driven by. For the first time, she actually understood her real why for having this business. It wasn't about money. It wasn't time freedom, which is what I hear so many new entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs think that being an entrepreneur is about. It's not about time freedom. You're going to have to work to create time freedom, and that's definitely something you can do. But you could do that if you were an employee. You could do that, and you're like, that's a mindset, right? So it wasn't about money. It wasn't about time freedom. It wasn't even about plant-based eating, even though she's passionate about it. Just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean it's your purpose. It's not what's going to be your driving why, especially in a business, which this session with Jules was about her business. It was about something so much deeper, and it came from a very painful place inside of her. It came up from a very painful place inside of her. Okay, so she grew up, she had a really tumultuous family life, okay? And then she was being raised mostly by her grandmother, and then her grandmother died when she was a very young girl, like I want to say like younger than 5 or 6, right? so her grandmother died, who was like the only stable person in her life, right? And then she was in foster homes. Or not foster home. She was in some kind of, this was in Russia, so she was in some kind of care throughout the day where she was with foster-like families. Okay, and so then fast forward, and she had a tumultuous relationship with her stepfather. She ended up running away from home at a young age, and then eventually got reconnected with the stepfather. The mom came to the USA in late teens, early adulthood, didn't know English, right? Had to go through all of that. Imagine coming to another country as a teenager when like things are already crazy, and you have to like make your way and you don't know the language. So I'm giving you those bullet points because clearly she's already a fighter, right? She's learned how to get over it and move on, right? So she's had all these challenges growing up, right? So here's what we got to after an hour into our conversation, right? After an hour into our conversation and questions and going back and forth, sometimes it takes that long. She got down to what her real desire was, right? Where her real motivation came from. And, oh, what did I just do? I think, okay, there we go. I thought I lost you guys. And so what do you guys think it is? It did not come, her passion and her why had nothing to do with healthy eating. It came from her desire for family. It came from her desire to have a connected family. Now, you might not even get this, but stay with me here. We went through really nailing down what she stands for, what her mission is, and then her vision. So here's what we got to. Jules stands for creating a connected, healthy family unit, something that she did not have, right? See how like the purpose is coming from a dark place? And the mission that she is on is to show people how developing healthy habits has a positive ripple effect on all areas of their life, their relationships, and the world, right? So she wants to show people how developing healthy habits, and one of them is the eating that she teaches, has a positive ripple effect in all areas of their life, their relationships, and the world. Because her vision, here's where it's going to make sense. Her vision is a world in which 5 generations of family members are sitting around the dining room table together, laughing, loving, and sharing heartfelt stories. I'm reading this right off of the document that we finished together. So it's a world in which she sees 5 generations, great-grandma, grandma, mom, daughter, and the grandchildren, right? Like all sitting around the table together, laughing, connected, loving each other. And so one of her ways of facilitating or manifesting that is to get out there and teach people how to be healthy so that they can actually get to that stage in life. But see how this really had nothing to do with what she was leading with, what she thought was really underneath it for her, which is what she thought it was just about plant-based eating. And so she's, like putting this, style of eating against that style of eating. And like, it's just coming from a different place. When you now know that the words that really are a part of your purpose is connection, family, intimacy, longevity, right? So her grandmother died from not being healthy at a young age, right? And then, she saw that in her other family members, right? So connection, family, intimacy, longevity, those are the words and the messaging that she now gets to go out and use. She gets to go out and talk about, in her emails, in her social media, in her conversations with clients. She gets to talk about all of that. Right? In her webinars, in her anything that she teaches, the common thread is having a connected family. Having a connected family. Because she was seeing people die early and have health diseases and all of that, right? So now her vision is to be sitting with her mom at age 100, her at 80, her daughters at 49, her grandkids at 25, and then having a great grandchild that's a year old. So isn't that just beautiful to get down to what the real purpose is that you're here to do? And her purpose is to really facilitate connected family unit. that means a lot to her. And you see how that's a whole different energy and come from, has a different vibe, right? And so now she gets to go and make all her decisions based on her SMV, based on her stand, her mission, and her vision. And then that's what we do with the rest of our VIP day. We put together her 5, 3, and 1 year plan, and we reverse engineer it and move her forward. And Jules she put a review like a couple of weeks after after this VIP session. You can see it on my, wonder if I have it here. You can see it on my page, and actually I posted it here once, and it's about the fact that she got a client very soon, I think a couple of days after we had that VIP day, a high ticket client, leading with her new energy, her new come from, the clarity and the confidence that she now had. Before, she was lacking that confidence because she was stumbling over herself, and she kept trying to, do it from this angle and change it this way. And it was like all different strategies she was trying to work with from a sales and marketing perspective. But it's like what I say all the time. It has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with sales and marketing. People buy you, they enroll into you. Like, think about the people that you follow as leaders. It's not really so much about what they're talking about or what they're quote unquote selling. It's like who they are. How do they show up in the world? Do you aspire to be like them? Do you relate to them? Right? So now she gets to call forward other people who also have that desire for a connected family. And then with that, of course, she's still going to attract people who just want to eat healthy and all of that, right? But at least she's got now the foundation of language to use and to connect with why she's driven to do this. Okay, so I just dropped my link in here. I still have 1 VIP day left, right? So I said this last week that I have 1 VIP day left in September, and I still have it because it is waiting for the perfect person. It's waiting for the perfect person, right? I know that means that God in the universe is saving it for the person who truly wants it and wants to get this level of connection, confidence, and clarity around what it is that you get to go out and do in the world, because that's what makes it easy. That's what puts you in flow. So if that person is you, grab the link that I just dropped in the comments. See if you can grab a spot on my calendar this week, and I would be honored to help you get the confidence and clarity in your life that you want. Thanks for joining. I am going to be back on here to check comments in a little bit. I'll see you guys at 7 a.m. tomorrow.